Finding the volume of triangular prisms and pyramids. So if we have a triangle base, how does that affect our volume formulas? So I'm sketching a real quick triangular prism here. Not going to be super perfect, but the idea here is, you can kind of follow along here, but if we have two bases that are triangles, then we have a triangular prism, and there's a specific formula we follow to get the volume of that. So let's say we have this one right here. We've got some measurements, and when you have a triangular prism, of course the base is a triangle, so we're going to base this on first the area of a triangle at the bottom. So if we just kind of found the area for this triangle, if it was a flat two-dimensional shape, the area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. So the first thing you do is you find that. And so the base they give us here is, I'll go ahead and put my 1/2. The base is 8 right there. And then the height, well, the height kind of tricky to see, but the height of the bottom, the base of this triangle, is 3. So when we solve that right over here, our area of this triangle, area would equal 1/2. 8 times 3 gets you 24, and then half of that is 12. So you start with the area, and then once you have the area, you just multiply the height of the full rectangular prism that you have, which is actually represented by this 7 here, how high these sides go up. It doesn't have a point in apex, like a pyramid does. So essentially, if we did our 12 times 7 here, and a lot of y'all can do that mentally, you should get 84 feet cubed. And all we did is find the area of the base and then multiply that by the height. So I know I wrote an area formula, but the real formula for finding the volume of a triangular prism, and I'll write it right over here. So I'll write it inside this circle for you, is that volume is going to equal, and they'll write it as base times height. It won't show up on your formula chart, but really it is base times height. You find the area of the base. It just happens to be a triangle, not a rectangle or a square. So the area of the base in this case is a triangle. So you have to remember that, 1/2 the base times the height. And then you multiply it again times the height, and that gets you the volume of this. So it looks like the same exact formula as finding the volume for a rectangular prism, but you have to solve for the area of the triangle first. So try another one inside of a word problem. Find the volume of a garden seat in the shape of a triangular prism. So if I wanted to sketch it real fast, I don't know if you guys have space too, but you can find a little side space there. And just sketch this thing out. We can put the measurements in. So triangular prism, kind of got it like this. This is just to show that it's a bit three-dimensional. With a height of 30 inches. So we know the height coming up the side is 30 inches. And a base area of 72 inches squared. Cool, they already gave us the area of the base. So we don't even need to solve that. So if you'll remember, the volume equals the base times the height. Well, check it out. The base is already solved right there. So all I have to say is volume equals 72 times 30. I'm running out of space off the side. I'm actually going to rewrite that. That's not very nice. The volume equals 72 times 30. And then we could just multiply that out real quick. I can do it right over here off the side. 72 times 30. 0 and 0. Fill in my 0. 3 times 2 is 6. And 3 times 7 is 21. 0, 6, 1, 2. And I'm showing 2,160. And this would be inches cubed. So not too tricky on this one. But again, finding the area of the base, which is a triangle, and then multiplying it by the height. And this is for a triangular prism, triangular prism. So if this is a triangular prism, it doesn't really have a point. It has the base of a triangle, but then we also have our triangular pyramid. And so you can see the difference in the shape. This one has the point here. The sides have to come in. We folded some of these up earlier. And so when we do this, we can find the volume of this, but it's going to change slightly. We're going to base our formula off of this. But again, remember, a pyramid, the sides start going in. And so essentially, you lose some of your volume. Like we would in a rectangle, you lose 1/3 of your volume. So this is what it'll look like. I'll go ahead and get this. Let me slide it over to get some space here. And let's see if we can solve for the volume of this. And this is the pyramid. I believe it's on the right side of your page. So when you solve for the volume of a pyramid, we're going to do the same exact thing. We need the area of the base. And in this case, yes, it is a triangle right over there. So when we get the area, I have the area of a triangle is 2.5. And remember, I'll rewrite this, but the area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. So the base in this triangle right here is 2.5. 1/2, 2.5. And the height, you can see this 2 right here going up, 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 is 2. So when you solve this, you start with 2.5 times 2, which I believe gets you 5. So you get 1/2 times 5. And the area should equal 2.5, because 1/2 of 5 is 2.5. And it'd be 2.5 feet squared. So we've now figured out the base. This equals the capital B right over here. So when we find the formula now for this triangular pyramid, what we're going to say is the volume formula is 1/3 again, the base times the height. So I'll take the base, which in this case is 2.5 feet. I'm going to multiply it by the full height of this pyramid, which is 5. So if I say 2.5 times 5, and then I'm going to get 1/3 of that. So real quick, I'm going to wipe out some space at the top. And I'm going to say, okay, let's rewrite this thing as volume equals 1/3. The base measurement was 2.5. The height is 5. Wipe out a little bit more space, and now I can solve. So let's do it real quick. 2.5 times 5 is where I'm going to be with this. So volume equals 1/3. And when we do 2.5 times 5, just in the interest of time for you, should get 12.5. And now what we need is 1/3 of that. Sorry, that should be a 3. 1/3 of that, because that is our pyramid. So 12.5, to get 1/3 of 12.5, sorry, I meant to scratch that up. The best thing to do is just divide it by 3. So volume would equal, and you'd have something like 12.5. To figure out what 1/3 is, divide it by 3. So I can do it real quick. It'll be kind of small here, but decimal up. 12 goes in, 3 goes into 12, I'm sorry, 4 times evenly. When we get 0, bring down the 5. It's going to go 1 time there. I'm going to get a 3. I know from having worked this out previously that it's going to kind of repeat, and 3 will go in there 6 times, and I'm going to get a 4.166. It's going to just keep going. So it's going to be something like volume equals 4.166. It'll go a couple times. Well, what we can simply do is just round to the nearest tenth. So the volume should equal 4.2. This is in feet cubed. So that's the idea right there. Again, we just found the area of that triangle, and then we did from there, that gave us the base, then we multiplied that by the height and got 1/3. So just same thing we do with a rectangle, just relating it to a triangle. Final one, you could probably work ahead on this one. This is another triangular pyramid. Try it out. Try it with that formula. Remember, the volume still equals 1/3 the base times the height. But remember, the base this time is a triangle. So find that area, multiply it by the height, and then divide it by 3. Go ahead and do that, and then you can unpause and see if you do it correctly. Go ahead. All right, so I'm going to go kind of quickly here, but the volume should equal, we have the base. Remember, with the base, I'm going to go ahead and find the area of the triangle, which is 1/2 the small base times the height. And I know the base along here was 6, the height is 3, which gets you 1/2 6 times 3. I know this gets you 18, and then I know half of it, the area should equal 9. So that's my big base. So volume should equal 1/3 9 times the height of this full thing. It looks like the height they're giving us right here, it's kind of covered up with this, but it looks like it's a 5. So I'm going to say 9 times 5 here, volume equals 1/3. 9 times 5 is 45. And then 1/3 of 45, if you divide it by 3, you're going to end up getting 15. So the volume should be 15. I think they have this in meters cubed. And that should be our final answer there.